Hello everyone, welcome to Matrix Uploaded. My name is Janet and we're going to be continuing our study of poetry by looking at 4 of the poems that are set for study. Remember we said that a way of approaching any poem is to start with the poet, to look at the structure of the poem, to zoom in to the words and the devices and the tools that the poet uses, and to zoom out again, take another look at structure, and round off with themes and general ideas. In this first segment, we're going to be looking at Let Me Not to the Marriage of True Minds, which is Sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no. It is an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is the star to every wandering bark, whose worth's unknown, although his height be taken. Love's not time's fool, those rosy lips and cheeks within his bending sickle's compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. Step 1, find out about the poet. The time that the poem was written, and the structure of the poem. We all know about Shakespeare. He was a writer of the Elizabethan and Jacobean period, possibly the most famous writer in English, and he wrote 36 plays and a whole lot of poetry. Stage 2 is reading the poem and analyzing it. We've had a look at the poem. We're going to start by summarizing the content. Once we've read the poem, we analyze it again from the most general level to the specifics. At the most general level, we can talk about the poem's content or what the poem is about. In this poem, the speaker defines true love. This is what the poem is about. He tells us what true love is, and he tells us what it is not. Step 2. Analyze the poem by looking at each unit of the poem. We look at diction, figures of speech, punctuation, and line breaks. When we look at diction, you might find some of Shakespeare's words a little difficult, but most of his words are modern words and you shouldn't have too many problems. A word like impediment, for example, we talk about a speech impediment. It's something that blocks you or hinders you. It stops you from doing something. An ever-fixed mark, here we're talking about some object that you might look to for guidance. For example, a lot of my students talk about a lighthouse standing on rocks and say that would be an ever-fixed mark. As you know, there would be the light coming out of the lighthouse. A tempest. Well, we still use the word tempest. It means a wild and violent storm. A word that you might not be that familiar with is bark, here meaning a ship. Be careful of this word. Fool here is a victim or a plaything, like a toy, something that you play with. That would be an unusual meaning. You should know sickle. It's an agricultural implement which has a curved blade like that, called a scythe or a sickle. Once we've looked at some of the words, we go to stage 3, which is thinking about the poem. Think about the voice that speaks in the poem, the themes of the poem. Think about how effective the poem is and how this effectiveness is achieved. And think about how the poem has affected you. What is Shakespeare saying in this poem? That true love survives. No matter what happens, If one person really loves another, that love is unchanging, no matter the passing of time or the other changes that can take place in a person's life. True love is eternal. In our next segment, we're going to look at a different poem.